Imagine a world where the impossible stands before you, a defiant monument sculpted by nature's fury. Picture a single colossal blade of stone piercing the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, its sheer sides daring any to approach. This is Baal's Pyramid, a phantom spire steeped in mystery and shrouded in a fearsome reputation. Rising an astonishing 562 meters, or 1,844 feet, from the ocean depths, Baal's Pyramid dwarfs even the most ambitious architectural marvels. It surpasses the Eiffel Tower in height, yet its slender base, barely 200 meters wide in some places, gives it a precarious, almost ethereal quality. Imagine standing at its foot, the sheer scale of the rock face pressing in on you, the immensity of the ocean stretching endlessly in every direction. This solitary titan isn't just tall, it's utterly remote. Situated a staggering 643 kilometers or 400 miles northeast of Sydney, Australia, within the protected waters of the Lord Howe Island Marine Park, it exists in a realm of untamed isolation. There are no welcoming beaches, no tranquil lagoons, no gentle slopes to ease your approach. Instead, it's a direct confrontation with the raw power of the open ocean. The waters surrounding Baal's Pyramid plunge to depths of over 2,000 meters, creating a marine environment as unforgiving as it is profound. Relentless waves, born in the heart of the South Pacific, crash against the rock face with unrelenting force. Ships, even the sturdiest vessels, rarely dare venture closer than 30 to 50 meters. Their captains perpetually wary of the unpredictable swells that threaten to hurl them against the unforgiving cliffs. The pyramid itself is a geological relic, the eroded heart of an ancient shield volcano. Millions of years of relentless battering from storms and waves have sculpted it into the awe-inspiring form we see today. Once a vast, sprawling volcanic island, time has gradually whittled it down to this solitary spire, a testament to the Earth's patient and destructive artistry. The cliffs are sheer, almost impossibly vertical, offering little in the way of natural holds or resting places. Ridges are unstable, prone to crumbling under the slightest pressure. The few ledges that exist are slick with a treacherous combination of guano, deposited by generations of seabirds and clinging barnacles, making any attempt at ascent a perilous undertaking. There is no soil to sustain substantial plant life, no sheltering coves, just unforgiving walls of dark, volcanic rock rising directly from the sea's embrace. The first recorded sighting of Baal's Pyramid was in 1788 by Lieutenant Henry Lidgebird Ball, a Royal Navy officer sailing with a convoy of convicts bound for Norfolk Island. He noted its imposing presence in his logbook, forever linking his name to this formidable spire. However, he wisely chose not to attempt a landing. The very sight of Baal's Pyramid was enough to deter most. Its massive waves, sheer cliffs, and generally unwelcoming appearance screamed of danger and inaccessibility. For nearly a century after its discovery, it remained untouched, a tantalizing enigma recorded on maps but never trod upon by human feet. Stories circulated among sailors, tales of towering waves that sent spray soaring high enough to drench the decks of ships hundreds of meters away. They spoke of vast colonies of seabirds, their cries echoing across the ocean in a cacophony that seemed to follow ships long after the pyramid had vanished from sight. Some whispered of eerie lights shimmering on the rock during storms, reflections in the surging waves that gave the spire an otherworldly glow. With no one daring to attempt a landing and either confirm or debunk the tales, these stories solidified Baal's Pyramid's image as a place of mystery and peril. It became more than just a geographical feature. It was a legend, a phantom spire lurking on the edge of the known world. To many, Baal's Pyramid was often invisible, a fleeting glimpse on the horizon before it disappeared back into the clouds or rain. A beacon for sailors braving the treacherous Pacific, it was as much a warning as it was a wonder, a stark reminder of nature's immense power and indifference. It was a place of emptiness, devoid of beaches, forests, or safe harbors, represented on cartographers' maps as a mere silhouette of stone rising from the abyss. For 19th century explorers, this emptiness was both terrifying and strangely alluring. What secrets did that spire hold? Could anyone even set foot on it? Was it truly impossible to climb, even before a single person had felt the rock beneath their feet. Ball's Pyramid had already become a challenge, a puzzle of stone defying the very notion of human conquest. And as the years turned into decades, curiosity only intensified, setting the stage for a new breed of adventurer. Individuals willing to risk everything to unravel the secrets of this phantom spire. They were driven by a potent mix of ambition, recklessness, and a burning desire to conquer the impossible. Before long, the first serious attempts to scale its sheer walls would be launched, forever changing the story of Ball's Pyramid and those who dared to challenge its dominion. For decades after Lieutenant Henry Lidgebird Ball first sighted the pyramid, it remained a silent sentinel in the vast Pacific. But the seeds of curiosity had been sown. The sheer audacity of this natural skyscraper, rising improbably from the depths, ignited a spark in the hearts of adventurers. It wasn't a question of if, but when someone would dare to challenge its formidable defenses. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw only fleeting attempts, often thwarted by the treacherous seas that guarded the pyramid. Passing ships offered glimpses of its daunting cliffs, fueling both fear and fascination. It was a place whispered about in sailors' tales, a monument to nature's indifference, daring anyone to even set foot on its base. But the winds of change were blowing. After World War II, a new breed of climber emerged, fueled by advancements in mountaineering techniques and equipment. Ropes were stronger, anchors more reliable, and the hunger for uncharted territory more intense than ever before. Ball's Pyramid, once deemed unclimbable, was now seen as the ultimate prize, a challenge that could etch a climber's name into the annals of history. The first recorded landing, a brief incursion by geologist Henry Wilkinson in 1882, only intensified the allure. Wilkinson's expedition proved that it was, in fact, possible to breach the pyramid's defenses. He also revealed that it was part of an eroded shield volcano, but it also underlined the immense difficulties involved. The relentless surf, the slippery, guano-covered rock, and the sheer verticality of the cliffs presented obstacles that seemed insurmountable. Landing was as much about luck as skill, a precarious dance between man and the unforgiving ocean. Despite numerous scouting expeditions and carefully laid plans, it wasn't until the 1960s that serious attempts began to take shape. These weren't reckless gambles, but meticulously planned assaults, backed by experienced climbers and cutting-edge gear. Yet even with all the preparation in the world, the pyramid remained a formidable adversary. The first major attempt came in 1964, led by the ambitious Dick Smith. While ultimately unsuccessful in reaching the summit, Smith's expedition achieved a significant milestone. They proved that the pyramid was, in fact, scalable, reaching a considerable height before being forced to retreat. Their near success served as a catalyst, inspiring a new wave of climbers and injecting fresh energy into the quest for the summit. Just a year later, in 1965, a team led by Bryden Allen finally cracked the code. After weeks of meticulous planning and grueling preparation, Allen, along with Jack Pettigrew, John Davis, and David Witham, stood triumphant on the summit of Ball's Pyramid. They had defied the odds, conquered the impossible, and etched their names forever in climbing history. Their success wasn't just a victory for mountaineering, it was a testament to human perseverance. The climb itself was an epic saga of sheer grit and determination. Landing was a treacherous gamble with heavy swells. Then, the ascent involved navigating unstable rock, battling relentless winds, and enduring bone-chilling conditions. Every handhold was a test of strength, every step a calculated risk. But the view from the top, they said, made it all worthwhile. A panoramic vista of the vast Pacific stretching out to the horizon, a reward for their unwavering dedication. With the first ascent complete, the impossible had been conquered, opening the floodgates for future expeditions. The challenge, however, had shifted from simply reaching the summit to finding new and more challenging routes. The years following the successful 1965 ascent witnessed a surge in climbing activity on Ball's Pyramid. Climbers from around the world flocked to this remote corner of the Pacific, eager to test their skills against its formidable walls. Each new route became a badge of honor, a symbol of daring and expertise. New routes were charted, each more audacious than the last, pushing the boundaries of what was considered possible. Climbers sought out the most challenging lines, the steepest faces, and the most exposed ridges. The pyramid became a canvas for their ambition, a blank slate on which to write their own stories of courage and skill. The competition grew fierce. Climbers meticulously studied the rock face, searching for weaknesses and plotting their ascents with meticulous detail. They pushed themselves to the absolute limit, enduring physical and mental exhaustion in their relentless pursuit of the summit. For many, Baal's pyramid became an obsession, a siren song that lured them back again and again. Despite the inherent dangers, they were drawn to its raw power. Its untamed beauty and the sheer challenge it presented. Each climb was a personal journey, a test of character, and a chance to push themselves beyond their perceived limits. The pyramid had become a crucible, forging legends in the fires of ambition and adversity. It was more than just a climb. It was a rite of passage, a transformative experience that shaped the lives of those who dared to challenge its formidable defenses. The once untouchable spire had become a magnet, drawing climbers from around the globe into its orbit, fueling a growing obsession that would forever alter the fate of this remote Pacific sentinel. By the mid-1980s, Baal's pyramid was more than a climber's obsession. It had also become a growing concern for scientists and policymakers who recognized both its dangers and its fragility. The same sheer basalt that drew adventurers made every ascent perilous. Crumbling rock, violent seas, and the impossibility of rescue turned each attempt into a gamble. Yet ecologists were beginning to see its isolation as something else, a rare refuge for life found nowhere else on Earth. In 1986, the New South Wales government made a controversial decision. Recreational climbing on Baal's pyramid was banned. Safety was part of the reason, but not the only one. The basalt walls, scoured by storms and salt, were more delicate than they appeared. Climbing risked accelerating erosion and damaging the ledges where seabirds nested. The ban marked a turning point. For decades, the spire had been a target for conquest. Now it became something to protect. Yet the ban only deepened the pyramid's mystique. It became a forbidden peak, approachable only by scientists with special permits. And for the few who did, it revealed secrets no one had expected. In 2001, a small team of researchers arrived with a specific mission to search for signs of the Lord Howe Island stick insect, which had long been thought extinct. Known locally as the tree lobster for its armored body and size, the insect once thrived on Lord Howe Island. But in the 1920s, invasive rats brought by ships wiped them out. For nearly 80 years, the species was remembered only through museum specimens. Still, strange reports lingered. Climbers in the 1960s had described finding insect droppings on Baal's pyramid, droppings far too large for any known species there. The hints were tantalizing but unproven. Now armed with climbing expertise and official permits, scientists set out to investigate. 100 meters straight above the sea, a discovery awaited them, more than they could ever dream of. A thickly bush-vegetated patch of basalt fissure-dwelling sites yielded living stick insects, a rare find of not one, but 24. Almost 15 centimeters in length, shiny, dark, and unlike any other creature on Earth, the stick insect had defied its extinction. Against all odds, the Lord Howe Island stick insect had been alive and undiscovered for generations upon generations on Baal's pyramid. Such a find was an upheaval for science. Not only had the species survived, but it thrived in one of the harshest places conceivable. The pyramid was reframed once again. It was not only an odd-looking thing of a rock, or the place where daring climbers battled its steep faces. It was a refuge, a final home for those creatures the world had forgotten. From this moment onwards, conservationists did their utmost to protect the fragile population. Some were taken into captivity for a breeding program, with hopes of eventually reintroducing them to Lord Howe Island. The tree lobster has thus come to symbolize resilience and nature's tenacity in surviving against impossible odds. The discovery was a bittersweet moment for climbers. The ban continued, and each year the ridges became quieter. As for scientists and conservationists, however, the pyramid became even more valuable, not as a peak to summit, but as a living laboratory, proof of how isolation can nurture miracles. The continuation of this ban kept climbers away from the secret that had made Baal's pyramid legendary. Instead of a conquest to be celebrated, it had simply been a testament to life hidden in plain sight, awaiting rediscovery. And that secret would forever change the way the world saw the jagged spire in the Pacific. By the 21st century, Baal's pyramid had shifted from a climber's obsession to something more profound, a living monument. No longer just a brutal test of endurance, it came to be seen as a natural cathedral where geology and biology intertwine in rare and fragile ways. Its isolation, once a barrier, became its strength, allowing life to persist in forms found almost nowhere else. The Lord Howe Island stick insect, rediscovered in 2001, was the most sensational proof of survival, but it was far from the only sign of life. Seabirds had long claimed the ridges, nesting on narrow ledges and filling the skies with movement and sound. Providence petrels circled overhead, their eerie cries carrying across the ocean. Masked boobies clung to the cliffs and plunged into the waters for fish. Their calls echoed off basalt walls, creating a soundscape at once haunting and beautiful. For generations, these birds had relied on the pyramid as a sanctuary in the open sea. Plants, too, adapted to the impossible. Melaleuca hawaiiana, a hardy shrub unique to the Lord Howe region, grew from fissures in the basalt, its wiry roots gripping where no soil should exist. Other plants, battered by salt spray and gales, clung to life, splashes of green against gray stone. Each testified to nature's persistence in places where survival seems unthinkable. Today, scientists treat Baal's pyramid as a natural laboratory. Unlike the climbers of the 1960s and 1970s who relied on brute strength and luck, researchers often study it from a distance. Drones and long-range cameras document changes in bird populations and vegetation, reducing human impact. When landings occur, they are rare, tightly controlled by permits, and undertaken with deep awareness of how fragile the ecosystem remains. In fact, it is not only the living organisms that make Baal's pyramid extraordinary, but also that it presents a paradox. It is antagonistic, waves colliding at the base of the island, storms scouring its ridges, and the basalt itself prone to crumble. But it is also nurturing, shielding those species that have no other habitat and preserving lineages from vanishing. That duality gives the pyramid the aura of having been carefully sculpted by nature itself, as a monument to both destruction and resilience. To the people of Lord Howe Island, the pyramid represents pride, but it also holds mystery. On clear days, the jagged spire looms ominously on the horizon, reminding them of both danger and wonder. Tales of unsuccessful summit attempts and miraculous escapes intertwine with accounts of incredible discoveries, rendering it almost mythical. People who catch a glimpse of it from passing boats often describe it as otherworldly, almost as if it has been plucked straight from an epic tale. Even in its silence, the pyramid speaks. It cautions climbers to stay away and echoes the secrets of survival to the scientists. To the world, it stands as proof that endurance can outlive ambition. These rare places, simultaneously grotesquely destructive and delicately beautiful, are even rarer when they have not been subjected to despoilment by man. Thus, Baal's pyramid is not merely another geological peculiarity or climbing tale. It is indeed a living monument. Every seabird that nests upon its rocky ledges, every insect that takes refuge within its shrubs, and every crash of a wave on its boundary serves in the spirit of an ancient and ongoing legacy. For those who dare to dream of it, the sight of that razor-thin spire rising from the Pacific is unforgettable. It is a reminder that some places are not meant to be conquered. They are meant to be respected. They are meant to be respected.